Hello and welcome to this Pentair Minutes to Proficient video. Today's topic, rebuilding the wet end of a Hypro ForceField pump. For today's demo, we will be rebuilding the wet end of a Pentair Hypro 9310 series ForceField wet seal technology pump in our lab located in New Brighton, Minnesota. We hope you enjoy this video. For this video, we will start with the wet end previously disassembled and the motor still intact. The tools and materials required to rebuild the wet end of this pump include some distilled water, a 17mm socket, some alcohol, a seal installation tool, a pair of spring clamps, a 5mm Allen socket, a crescent wrench, and some medium-strength thread lock. First, support the mounting flange face down, at least 2 inches above the work surface, being careful not to damage the O-ring groove. Guide the motor shaft evenly into the flange, being careful not to scratch the shaft. Use the 17mm socket to tighten down the 4 mounting bolts. Now, let's reassemble the mechanical seals. First, lubricate the outer surface of the first seal seat with distilled water. Do not use oil as a lubricant. Install this seal with the gasket facing down into the pump and the shiny side of the seal facing up. Use a clean seal tool to press the gasket down into the flange. Make sure to clean the seal face with alcohol to make sure it is free of any dirt or debris. Go ahead and clean the motor shaft with alcohol as well. Next, lubricate the inner surface of one of the mechanical seals with distilled water. It's important not to use oil for this, as the seal must grip the shaft and rotate with it. Making sure the surface is clean. Install the mechanical seal with the shiny side facing down. Use the open end of the seal tool to push the seal down until it makes contact with the seat. Next, install the spring. Once the spring is installed, lubricate the second mechanical seal with distilled water. This seal will be installed with the shiny side facing out. Use the seal tool and push it down onto the shaft. Next, we'll install the other seal seat by lubricating the gasket with distilled water. Make sure the gasket is facing in and the shiny side is facing out towards the seal port. Push this in by hand. Clean the seal faces with alcohol one last time. Now you can install a new O-ring into the flange, making sure that's fully seated. Then install a new membrane, making sure the ribbed side is facing out and the smooth side is facing in. Make sure the inner and outer portion of the membrane are fully seated. With the membrane seated, carefully slide the seal plate over the shaft, with the seal seat facing the pump. Using the spring clamps to hold the seal plate in place, use the 5mm Allen socket to reinstall the 6 Allen screws. Torque these in a star-shaped pattern to 48 inch-pounds. It is a good idea to retorque these screws at least 3 or 4 times in a star-shaped pattern to ensure the membrane is fully compressed and all 6 screws are equally torqued. Next, fill the chamber with wet seal fluid. The amount required is typically about 10.5 ounces or 310 milliliters. For the ForceField seal to function properly, the chamber must be completely full and airtight. It is critical to use only the correct seal chamber fluid, noted in the owner's manual. Once completely filled, use the crescent wrench to tighten the fill port plug. Now is a good time to wipe off any excess fluid and check around the plate for any possible leaks. With the chamber filled, we can remove the spring clamps and install a new O-ring by stretching the O-ring over the seal plate. Be careful not to twist it, which could create a leak path. With this installed, lubricate the O-ring with grease or water as we prepare to install the casing. Next, reinstall the impeller. It is a good practice to turn the keyway facing up, so the key will not fall out. With the key in the keyway, line up the impeller and slide it on. Apply a medium-strength thread lock to the acorn nut, and use the 17mm socket to tighten it back down. Now we can reinstall the casing. Use the 17mm socket to tighten down the 4 mounting bolts. If it has not already been installed, reinstall the adapter port into the motor. Now this pump is ready to be reinstalled back onto the sprayer. Thank you for watching and have a great day.